pilot in the Air National Guard. How are you, sir? And good morning to you.
Hey, Bill. Good morning.
Did this surprise you?
No. Look, Chairman McCall knows his stuff. He's really smart on this, and this doesn't surprise me. Again, when you have a group like ISIS that's gaining territory, that's having success, and frankly, the best thing you can say about the fight against ISIS is that we're at a stalemate. They're going to be able to recruit, because what you have and what's drawing people in, it's not this idea. Most foreign fighters don't go over there to die for jihad. I think they join because they see something they want to be part of. A jihad that looks fun. Look, they get to shoot guns, hang out with the guys, pillage areas, and frankly, all in the name of their religion, in their mind. It's when they get over there and get radicalized that they are then become willing to die. And so I think what we have to do is show very seriously that we're rolling back the gains of ISIS, and we have to be brutally honest about what they're doing and frankly what it's like to be killed by us, because at the end of the day, these people that are ready to join need to see that violence will be brought upon them if they do that.
If that's the case, you've got a big job. A year ago, 15,000 fighters in Syria and Iraq, 100 of whom were Americans. A year later now, 30,000 fighters in Iraq and Syria, 250 Americans.
So where is presidential leadership on this? Why is President Obama not sitting in the Oval Office, having an Oval Office address, telling the American people exactly what the problem is and exactly how we're going to defeat it? We see the Russians go into the Middle East. We see the Russians go into Ukraine. We see ISIS expanding. We see Assad brutalize his population. And the president, frankly, is nowhere to be found on this. And, as a member of Congress, I can come out and yell about it as much as I want. I can make sure we're going to support with the resources, our military and our air power, but it takes presidential leadership, and unfortunately, I don't think President Obama either sees the threat that this really poses or, frankly, is ready to manage it or deal with it.
Give me a solution. How do you prevent more, just take it from our perspective, how do you prevent more Americans from going over and joining, because they've got the passport to come back?
Well, obviously, we give law enforcement the tools they need here, but I think in the long run, we have to deal major blows to ISIS, large defeats to ISIS. When al-Qaeda was being rolled back in a big way, under the Bush administration, you didn't see foreign fighters leaving the United States in large droves to go fight. It's only when you see success. So we push back the success of ISIS. And again, I think we have to show the brutality that ISIS is visiting upon populations, that this isn't a fun time to go and just hang out with a bunch of dudes. This is a serious problem where they're murdering, raping, killing women, children, and men. And there is no God in the world, no matter what religion you are, that would support the brutality of what you're seeing from these folks.
Part of the national dialogue is going toward allowing Putin to just go ahead and take on ISIS. I mean, you hear Donald Trump talk that way. Are you okay with that?
No. Look, Donald Trump, I'll be honest with you, Donald Trump does not know what he's talking about in foreign policy. He's throwing out sound bites. It sounds good, but he's one layer deep. This is a very complicated area, and it's very dangerous to say we ought to let the Russians take over the Middle East. They have not had a role in there since the end of the Cold War. They're going to write the rules if we allow them to do that. And by the way, we're finding out that Putin may not even be bombing ISIS today. He may be bombing the doctors, lawyers, and pharmacists that are standing up against the brutality of Bashar al-Assad. This is in no way good news, and I hope people go beyond just the one layer of, oh yeah, they're going to bomb ISIS, that's great, and find out the real implication this has for our country, and it's devastating, and as a Republican, it shocks me to see Republicans say this.
Wow, you think about Vladimir Putin in Russia, you think about Iran and this nuclear deal. What is the motivation of Putin today, given the breaking news from overnight?
Vladimir Putin today is trying to rebuild the Soviet empire as best he can, and that's going to include a foothold in the Middle East. Bashar al-Assad and his location is very important to Russia having their naval base, now their military presence in the Middle East, and now being able from that to exert influence on Saudi Arabia, Iraq, Iran, and everywhere else. He is in effect pushing us out, or actually just filling the vacuum that we have left. It is imperative for the president to push back on this, and I can't wait till we get a new Republican president that can begin to do that in a big way.
So we'll see whether or not the airstrikes continue. The Pentagon says they will in Syria, which means we're telling Putin, forget about it.
That's right. That's right. Well, it'll be a very interesting thing to watch, but this president has got to push back. And again, we might find out that Putin's not even bombing ISIS. He may be bombing the people who have had their sons and daughters killed by this indiscriminate dictator, Bashar al-Assad.
It appears that is the case based on a reporting at the Pentagon. Adam Kinzinger, thank you for your time. From Capitol Hill today. Patty.